Hey everyone, Nate the Great here, back again with another video. I know it's been a little while since I uploaded, so I thought I owed you guys something special. The Thomas Wooden Railway line has had hundreds of items, but every collector has a few that stands out for the most random reasons. They're not always the rarest or most popular, sometimes they just click with you. So today I'm sharing my top 5 random favorites and why they've stuck with me over the years. Let's dive in. For some reason, this version of Skarloey has always been my favorite, even though I owned the newer, more detailed 2013 one. It all comes back to a memory from when I was little. After church most weeks, we'd go to someone's house. They had this giant tub full of wooden trains and tracks, but the funny thing was the only Thomas item in there was this Skarloey. Every single week, I'd dig him out of the pile and play with him like he was the star of the show. It's such a small, random memory, but it stuck. Whenever I see that 2003 Skarloey, it takes me right back to that living room floor running him around makeshift tracks. It doesn't matter that I have the newer model. The old one still holds a place in my heart that cannot be replaced. That's all it takes for something to become a favorite. So, that's Skarloey. Proof that sometimes the simplest memory makes an item priceless. But the next one? The complete opposite. It was a mystery that always confused me as a kid. This one is funny because for years I didn't know if he was real. As a kid, I never read the Railway series. My only exposure to Big City Engine was through Thomas Wooden Railway's Big City Rumor video. It was episode 155 of his series. That video has over 400,000 views, and I swear at least 500 of them were me at 4 years old. I loved that series. The creator had all the engines I wanted in the exact versions that I wanted. And Big City Engine? I thought he was a custom because I never saw him in stores. I never saw him in other people's videos either. He was like a mystery character to me. Then one day, I watched a Milk Tanker Media video and saw him again. My jaw dropped. A few eBay searches later, I learned the truth. He actually existed. That kicked off years of me begging my parents to get him for me. They never did back then, but just a few weeks ago, I finally got him in a trade with friends. And honestly, it felt like completing the biggest gap in my collection. This was a childhood obsession finally made real. Getting Big City Engine was a struggle that took 11 years to do, but this next one only took 2 weeks. Wilbert. This one is personal. As a kid, I always thought Wilbert looked like a mashup of Percy and Thomas. Hey, don't come at me, I was 5. But my introduction to him wasn't through books or videos. It was through my kindergarten teacher. She had a small bin of wooden trains. Thomas, Percy, Diesel 10, and Wilbert. I think there was maybe an Annie and Clarabelle in there, but that was it. And somehow, Wilbert always stood out to me. He wasn't flashy and he wasn't a main character, but he was the one I gravitated towards. I'd never seen him before. So after a lot of begging, my parents bought me Wilbert in a lot on eBay with Rusty and the Sodor line caboose. All for like 15 bucks. Pre-2016 Wooden Railway eBay was awesome. I couldn't have been more excited, and for some reason that caboose was almost as big a deal to me as Wilbert himself. I only had a faded musical caboose at the time, so this felt like a major upgrade. But Wilbert became my guy. All I knew about him was that he liked trees, so whenever I played with him, he always hauled my log car. Not the one you're thinking of, the jumping Joby Wood log car, and the Sodor line caboose. That was his consist every time. Even now, I look at Wilbert and I just get happy. I have no clue why. I always felt like his toy had the only smile that wasn't forced. It was just natural. He's the definition of just a bro being a dude, and that's probably why he stuck with me. Okay, this one's a little more mysterious. I couldn't tell you where my obsession with Fred started. All I know is that once it did, I would not shut up about it. I begged my parents for him non-stop until finally my mom caved in and put in 2 bids on separate eBay lots. Here's where it gets wild. She won both. And together it came to like 20 bucks. It was a different time. I miss it. One of them came with Duke, Bill, and Ben, who I also desperately wanted thanks to the Big City Rumor video. It also had another item, but I can't remember which it was, but memory works in funny ways. The other lot had Fred, nothing else, but it was the 2003 version. The important part is I got Fred. In fact, I ended up with every version of Fred Pelhay that was ever released, which sure isn't exactly hard to do, but it still felt like an accomplishment. And before anyone rushes to the comments, yes, I know his name is supposed to be Fred Pelham and it was a mistake by Learning Curve, but to me, he'll always be Fred Pelhay, so shh. On unlike Fred, I know exactly where Mavis came into the picture. Enterprising Engines' Mavis and the Tornado video, specifically part 2. I was captivated. Mavis always looked sleek, shiny, and powerful, and little me went, ooh, shiny, me want. But by the time I got into collecting, Mavis had been discontinued, and I never saw her in stores. Until I did. There was the store in the mall called FYE, and for about a year and a half, they stocked tons of the Thomas Wooden Railway train and DVD packs, all for just $4 each. These were the ones from like 2005, and this was in 2015. They had tons of stuff. We're talking Franks, Ricketies, the Treasure Car, and yes, Mavis. My dad loved how cheap they were, so he'd always take me to grab a few. The day I spotted Mavis, I did not hesitate. I grabbed her and rambled about tornadoes for like half an hour. And finally, I added her to my collection. So, there you have it. My top 5 random Thomas Wooden Railway favorites. They're not necessarily the rarest or the most valuable, but each one carries a story, a memory, or just a random spark that stuck with me. Honestly, this has been one of my favorite scripts to write. I don't usually dive this deep into my personal Thomas stories just throughout life, but it's been a blast. That's what this channel's always been about for me. Not really over-analyzing lore or getting caught up in realism, but just having fun. I mean, I literally made Spider Tram. If that doesn't tell you I'm here for fun, I don't know what will. And that's the thing. Collecting is about more than just items. It's about the memories tied to them. Every Skarloey, every Mavis, every random Wilbert in a kindergarten classroom bin. They all tell a story, and that's why we collect. Now, I want to hear from you. What's that one Thomas item in your collection that you love for no reason at all? Drop it in the comments, and if those are turned off, go to my community tab. I'd love to see your stories. Anyway, thanks for watching, and remember, when you subscribe, you're one of the greats. This is Nate the Great, signing off. Take care, stay awesome, and keep those childhood memories rolling.